Well, good evening, guys. It is December 29th. I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Happy birthday to Collins. He's behind the camera today, and we are down at the River Bottom Farm. Dude, 5 years. I haven't filled a buck tag in 5 years.
I think the best way to describe how I feel right now is just at a loss for words.
Some weeks we have a few days to put these episodes together, and some weeks only a few hours. This week's show falls into the second category. The hunt you are about to see happened last night. But before we get into the action, we need to go back a few weeks. That's when this story started. On November 5th, Collins Marine missed a nice 10-pointer. The disappointment didn't last long because just 10 days later, Collins shot the buck we featured a month ago, the deer that he snort-wheezed to just 5 yards. But Collins didn't forget about the 10-pointer that got away, and just 3 days ago that buck resurfaced when Collins filmed him at a distance. Last night, Collins and Kaleb Greiner headed to the place where Collins saw the 10-pointer. That buck ended up being only a pawn. He got the hunters into the game, but he wasn't the one that they ended up with. Kaleb has passed up a lot of bucks over the years. In fact, this was the first one he had killed in 5 seasons.
Well, good evening, guys. It is December 29th. I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Happy birthday to Collins. He's behind the camera today, and we are down at the River Bottom Farm. Collins and I have had quite a few really good encounters with a lot of really good deer on this farm, and actually the deer we're in after today is the old 10. Collins had an opportunity at that deer here about a month ago in the rut. But he made it through gun season, and we actually encountered him here 2 nights ago. We were actually putting a stalk on him and got about 350 yards away, and where he was is actually exactly where we're at tonight. So we have a southwest wind. He's coming out from the river bottom, so perfect wind, and hopefully he should be coming out to this corn back behind us. So hopefully he reads the script twice and he steps out here tonight.
Ah!
Dude. Dude. 5 years. I haven't filled a buck tag in 5 years.
Where did he come from?
I don't know. There's 3 shooters over our right shoulder. We've had deer all over us, and when I mean all over us, I mean I don't even know how many deer we've seen tonight. Oh my gosh, we've had how many? I'm at a loss for words, dude. We had deer like 30 steps in front of us, and they didn't know they didn't even know we were here. Oh my gosh. We're sitting on the ground.
Awesome.
Dude. I can't believe we just did that.
Super mature.
Oh, wow. Well, guys, it's been about 15 minutes since he's gotten down, and we saw the deer drop in the field. There's still quite a few deer in the field, and this is probably going to be the spot that we're going to hunt next weekend, too. So we're just going to go to the point of impact and see if we can find a little blood trail just for fun and get our hands on this guy.
Awesome. What a shot.
I don't know what deer that is. That's the one that was on camera, dude.
Mm-hmm. That's a stud.
That's the one that was on camera, yeah. He just must be an old deer from a neighboring farm that just showed up, man. That's crazy. He's broken up.
Well, we just linked back up with the guys and got the deer in some better lighting, and I think the best way to describe how I feel right now is just at a loss for words. As I said earlier, I haven't harvested a buck in 5 years. It seems crazy to think about it, but so after the shot and everything, there's so many different feelings. Collins and I have been working our tails off this year. We've had the most lucky season probably in the history of deer hunting. And tonight was a great example of how getting down from the tree, getting on the ground, and then excelling in the opportunity that we had with this giant-bodied 10. I mean, words can't describe how I feel right now. Growing up, when Collins and I were in high school and whatnot, we used to always watch the show and always dreamed about an opportunity like this. And for the opportunity to come together tonight, I'm just at a loss for words. So thank you guys for watching Midwest Whitetail, and I hope to see you guys back next time.
We love the fact that bucks can show up out of nowhere during this time. No history, no prior record. I'm only here for the food, boss. That was the case with this buck. Kaleb had gotten only a single photo of the buck a few days prior to the hunt. This gives us hope as we press on into the late season. So with that in mind, let's catch up with the rest of our teams. As much as we enjoyed the time we spent with our families, the Christmas holiday definitely cut into our hunting time this past week. I got out twice. My first hunt was on the 23rd, the day the late season opened here in Iowa. For that evening, I decided on a sorghum field where I had moved a trailer blind 10 days earlier. I saw a ton of bucks, but nothing with any age. It was warm. Colder temperatures and maybe some snow would have definitely gotten those older bucks on their feet earlier. I didn't get back out to hunt again until the 27th. Conditions were perfect to return to the same field. The sorghum is surrounded by timber, making it the ideal place to catch a surprise buck looking for a free meal, like the one that Kaleb shot. As antlerless deer started piling into the field, my goal for the evening changed. I have to kill several does on the farm every year to keep the herd from growing too quickly. Drake and I had taken 14 so far, and this evening presented the perfect opportunity to move a few steps closer to my goal number of 30. 2 does in the bag, but just as importantly, I learned something. This was the first year that I planted sorghum on my farm, and the deer had not started feeding on it noticeably until early December. By late December, they were all over it. I'm going to plant a lot more sorghum next year. In a roundabout way, sorghum played a role in 3 other hunts this past week. Mike Reed and Jared Mills co-own a farm that lies on the banks of a large river. If you remember in a recent episode, On November 29th, Jared encountered a big-bodied old buck they call Merino. Once the late season finally arrived, Jared wasted no time in going back after Merino on the river farm. He and Mike had been hunting the buck around a sorghum plot, the same spot where Jared saw the deer in late November. Jared was the first to see Merino on the evening of the 23rd. Again, this was the very first day of the late season. The buck came out with plenty of shooting light, but stayed well out of bow range. The next evening, Christmas Eve, Mike Reed saw their number one target as he came out of a large peninsula on the farm. Unfortunately, a group of does picked up Mike's scent and the hunt ended without a shot opportunity. Carelessly tempting fate, Merino came past Mike 2 more times. Next on Christmas when he walked within 60 yards, but right at the end of shooting light, and then again on the 28th at long range as rain dampened the hunt. During this time, Jared also went back after the big 10-pointer he was hunting in the open fields prior to the regular firearms season. Trail cam photos showed that the buck had survived the gun seasons. Hoping to set up a close shot in the open terrain, Jared moved a blind into place near the buck's normal feeding area. It almost paid off. The big 10-pointer showed up, but was occupied by what must have been a hot doe and never made it to the field where the rest of the deer fed within easy bow range. If Vegas took bets on the outcome of hunts, I would place my cash on at least one of these 2 bucks hitting the ground before next week's episode airs. I'm still waiting for the right conditions to hunt my best spot, and hope that will come together this week also. This should be an interesting week. Speaking of next week's episode, while I was writing the script for this voiceover, I learned that another great buck fell to our team this evening. Drake Lamb has been quietly keeping tabs on a giant that lives in a CRP field just outside of town. Like Kaleb Greiner, Drake killed that deer tonight also. We will bring you all the details from that exciting hunt next week. These stories and more will continue to unfold right here every week. We appreciate you joining us on this journey. We will see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail, and remember to always dream big.